debt. Yeah. What, when you think of debt, is that a bad thing for you? Are you like, we need to be out of debt, I wish we were out of debt? Or are you rejoicing you are out of debt? Where are you with debt? Yeah. In this video, I'm going to share, I might challenge your mindset. Hopefully it'll bring revelation like it did for me, a whole new meaning. If you're like me, you love the Lord, you love His Word, and He talks about debt, right? However, and if you know me, my husband and I live a very different life than so many people. And it's not that we've just always done things differently. And so one of the things that we've done different is I don't have a problem with debt. I know that goes against the norm, and I still love the Lord. I still love His Word. I don't go against His Word. I've just always believed that there's something to this. And this morning I had an amazing revelation, and I want to share it with you because I believe it'll bring transformation as it did in my life. If you know, if you never met me, I'm Elizabeth Miller. I'm a passionate mom of 6 awesome, amazing children. I have 1 with Jesus. And I love business. I've been in business for 20 years. I love finances. I love empowering others to walk in financial freedom. What that looks like for Ben and I is we don't have to work another day in our life. We are financially, I love to work and I will. However, we don't have to. There is a financial freedom available, but it takes steps to get there. And you don't have to have a debt to get there, but that's one thing that we did. And that's one area where when it talks about getting out of debt and not having debt or not going into debt, I'm not saying not getting out of debt because today we don't have a debt. However, if that's one thing that we use to get where we are today, I know it's crazy to say this or think this, but I hear people that they say getting like they're out of debt, but they own nothing. They have no wealth. They have nothing. And so for us, so I believe there's like a good debt and a bad debt. And that's actually a whole nother topic that I actually made a video about that I'll be sharing one day. However, for now, let me just briefly share a little bit what I'm talking about in case you're like trying to wrap your mind around this. Is when we were young married, our first debt was a farm that we paid $500,000 for. And today, so we went in debt, right? We didn't have that. We had to have a certain amount to be able to qualify for that debt, which is what I teach in my financial freedom class. However, if we wouldn't have went into debt with that farm, so today, I don't even know how many years later we've had that farm, but it's worth around $1 million. That was amazing. That's an amazing debt. But hadn't we went in debt, we wouldn't have that today. So there's a good debt and there's a bad debt. But this is not exactly what I'm talking about. But I knew that if you're like me, if you think of debt, I've always related it with money. Always. I've never thought of anything else. And when it would talk about not being in debt, I would be like, something inside of me would be like, but God, there's something. But I can't really teach that. I don't really say don't go into debt because I know that that's not how it wouldn't agree with me, but Lord, I want to agree with your word. What is it? This morning, I believe that I had the most amazing revelation that will transform my life, and I'm going to continue to go after this, and I believe it will transform maybe not yours, but someone's life. I believe it's for not just myself, but to share with the world. And this is what it is. I actually took notes, so let me catch up on my notes. What if there was something called emotional debt? Emotional debt. Like, I don't have a financial debt, but I realized this morning that most of my life I lived in debt. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so transformational. I was writing, and as I just felt like the Lord showed me this amazing thing. I've been in emotional debt. I've believed that I owed people. When you have a debt, it means you own someone, you're a slave. I owed so many people to make sure that they're okay. I owed them to make sure that I comment on their Facebook page, to make sure that I go and see them. I owed them and a word of encouragement. If someone did good to me, I owed them back. If someone did something to me, I automatically owed them back. If someone was kind to me, I automatically owed them. I was a slave. I was in debt. I've been in debt. I've owed so many people, and I can never pay some of them. For example, my parents. Yes, I will always honor them. I will always respect them. They are my parents. I love them. But I don't owe them. We don't owe. I was in debt, in emotional debt. If someone would invite me, or I have so many amazing friends, but I believed I was in debt. It's not anybody. If you're my friend and you're listening to this, don't hear me out. And I believe that it will transform some of my friends as well. You're not in debt to people. It's not money. I'm not saying it can't be money, because there's horrible debts with money and that you don't want. But there's a good debt. And then there's debt, emotional debt. I also have been on the side where I believed people owed me. So I put them in debt. They owed me. They owed me like my husband. He would owe me certain things. He would owe me. And then if something wasn't paid, if you don't make your payment to the bank, you're a slave. And then you actually get a late payment fee, right? And you get maybe to the debt collector, you owe someone. And sometimes I have put that on people. I felt like people owed me. I've also been on that end. I also am that is so, there's freedom. We are a free man. Owe no man nothing, and no man owes you nothing. You be the lender, not the borrower. You lend out, you love, you expect nothing in return. That's who you are. Yes, that's who we are. So amazing. So look at this scripture. Let no debt remain standing except to love one another. That is an amazing scripture. It's Romans 13:8. Let no debt standing. So what I feel like, this is what it spoke to me. This is what it spoke. If you owe someone an apology, if you've wronged someone, you have a debt to them. You owe them an apology. Go make it right. Don't let it standing. If you've done something, if you've hurt someone, go make it right. Don't let it standing. You're going to be in debt. You're going to owe them, right? Go make it right. You're going to be a free man. It frees you. Except for to love one another. That's what we are called to do. We are called to love one another. To every person is to just love. To not an expect in return, not out of debt, but out of who we are. There's such a big difference. Here's another one. The Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our debts as we forget our debtors. I've said this my whole life, but I never really got it. What if you would say, forgive those who have hurt me, and forgive myself, forgive me for what I've done to hurt other people. Help me make it right. Don't hang on. Nobody owes you an apology. They don't owe that to you. If they come, make it right. But don't wait for that. Don't put them in debt. Don't put them a claim. Don't do that to any person. It doesn't, until it only holds you in bondage. You're the one that's hurting. If the bank doesn't get their payment, they hurt. Don't do that to someone. You're a free man, and know who you are. Do not withhold good for those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. Do not withhold words of encouragement. Do not withhold love. Love is for who you are. Do not withhold it. Love yourself. Know who you are. Then you can love your enemies. Do good. Lend. Give love. Lending, giving love, lending love, giving it, not expecting, hoping for nothing in return. Your reward will be great, and you will be sons and daughters of the Most High. Luke 6:24. I don't know, but this was so transformational for my life, and I hope that it blessed yours like it did mine. Know who you are. Know that no man owes you anything. You are not in debt to anyone, and that don't hold others in debt as well. And just embrace and loving yourself, filling your own bank account inside of who you are with His love and loving yourself. If you have a debt with someone, if you owe them an apology, go make it right. Free yourself. You're a free person. And if you're holding a debt against someone, believing that they owe you an apology, release them, forgive them. Hopefully one day they will make it right. But if they don't, it's not going to break yours. And know that you are love. Wherever you are today, just love. For love is who you are, not because you owe it to them, but because that's who you are. When you're shopping, with your children, with your husband, with your family, with your employees, with your customers, at your workplace, wherever you are, love, not because you owe it to them, but because that's who you are. Because if you owe it to them, you want something in return. Because if you have a debt, even if it's your car payment, you make it because you want your car. No, that's not who you are. When you are who you are, you love not because you owe it, but because that is who you are.